Hello my fiery kittens, it's Firecats3 here, and today we will be deciding whether or not the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Generation 4 ending was a good or bad ending. Like last time when I reviewed Steven Universe Future, there will be a possibility of 8 positive points for a good ending, and possibility of -7 points for a bad ending. This results with a 1 to 0 being a neutral ending. Any number that is positive will be a good ending, and any number negative will be a bad ending. So since My Little Pony ends in parts, we will be considering the last 3 episodes to be the end of My Little Pony. Simple as that. And so that I don't have to keep saying My Little Pony, we will also be referring to My Little Pony as its abbreviation MLP. Few just warnings beforehand. 1, this is a review episode, so if you have not seen the My Little Pony MLP Generation 4 ending, please log off, get out of here, go watch it, and come back, because it's more fun to watch it without knowing the spoilers. 2, when My Little Pony came out, I was a big fan of it, and yes, I was a brony. I've said this multiple times in different videos, so I do have a slight bias towards this ending. However, I will do my best to be as unbiased when scoring this ending. Now that we have the rules and stuff down, let's start with the good point tally. So with this one, let's tally up the good point endings that MLP's ending got. So for the first possible point, is it in a good season? I had to say yes, I gave it a point for this, because the MLP ending was in Season 9, and Season 9 had quite a bit of, memorable episodes. For me, my favorite 2 were definitely The Last Crusade and The Big Mac Question. With The Last Crusade, we finally got to meet Scootaloo's parents, and we also got to meet her aunts, which explained kind of where her supervision was. We never really knew, but now we know, which made me very happy. The Big Mac Question, what I liked about that one was coupling. It was very cute, and Big Mac getting married was just, it made me cry. I loved it. It was the wedding we were all hoping for, with like the wedding of Shining Armor. It was just like a better version of that in my opinion. Number 2. Good lead up, high stakes going in. So for Season 9, MLP kind of started its season with the whole all the villains got together, Sombra attacks because he doesn't want to work with the other villains, etc. Which was a great lead up to letting us know that these 3 are going to be the big baddies of the final episode. They also had throughout the season little hints that ponies were upset, that there was a miss, there was something that wasn't exactly right. Every now and again we'd check in with the villains. So it definitely had a good lead up. It really did lead up to it. The only thing that was kind of bad was the Discord reveal was a little too obvious. However, the way it was handled was done well enough that even though it was super obvious, it wasn't anything that was out of character for Discord or just made you roll your eyes at the other ponies because they didn't see it coming, etc. Yes, there was a good lead up, so 1 point given. So point 3 was given for beloved characters are important to the end. Of course, MLP gets a point for this. This show was so fan-centered sometimes. For its ending, like, if you were a fan of the show, you loved the ending for the fact that in order to save the day, the characters literally had to rely on previous friends who show up at the last minute and like, we are here to support you because we are friends, right? There's the kids give the speeches, and then everyone else shows up, and they show not only characters from the show, but characters from the movies, and it's everyone, like every creature there exists. It's a beautiful scene, and I love the fact that all of the creatures, all the different characters were important to the end. You know, they have all the unicorn characters making the shield, and they have all the characters that can flying around. It's just a beautiful little, like, this is how you have to defeat the bad guy, is with friendship, which is the whole point of the show. So, point number 4 was it has references to the series throughout. This one, it definitely got a point again. This show is great on continuity, in my opinion. For example, it had the Wendigos, which were referenced in every heartwarming Eve episode. It had the Pillars, which, like, later became real. You know, they were kind of like mythical stories for one season. It had the Crystal Empire. Why don't we ever spend time in the Crystal Empire? But it's in there. And then finally, the matchups. Like, this was probably my favorite part of the whole fights, was how they matched up specific characters with other characters. My favorite matchup was definitely Chrysalis versus Starlight, because not only was it a pretty epic battle, you gotta admit, Starlight can throw down. What was great about it was that it referenced a previous season's ending. In a couple seasons ago, Starlight, the ending of that season was Starlight basically showing that she could save Equestria by creating her own fan group and then defeating Chrysalis. It's one of my favorite MLP endings because they gave Discord, they gave Tirac, they gave Trixie, and they gave Starlight a whole bunch of new character development, which made me happy. Number 5, heartwarming speeches. This is MLP. Like, they can't not have a heartwarming speech. Again, it got a point. So, for this, I consider the kids' speeches to the when they go through all the different kids' speeches, they said to all the different tribal groups, convincing them to go help the people who are fighting the evil guys. AJ's speech to Twilight to motivate her to say, look, we're in this together, we can do it, we fought way worse. All of Twilight's speeches, because she has the speech in the fight scene where after everyone comes together to officially fight, she has her big speech, which is great, and then she has a speech in the one where she's talking to her student. She has this beautiful speech about friendship, which eventually turns into the song Friendship Grows, which, let's all admit, we all have been humming it ever since the end of MLP. I don't know about you, but that song is stuck in my head constantly. Number 6 point that they possibly could get was main characters have endings. Yeah, all the main characters kind of got wrapped up in the one where Twilight, the friendship grows. They were given their kind of ending. So it was implied that Pinkie married Cheese Sandwich and had a child, and now she still kind of works at Sugar Cube Corner, because, you know, we saw pumpkin cake and pound cake. I'm sorry, pound cake and pumpkin pie. I can say these names. I probably still got it wrong. I'm going to flash on the screen who I'm talking about. And then there's AJ, obviously still works on her farm, and we got to see Big Mac's family, which was cute. Dash becomes the leader of the Wonderbolts. We see her with all the new Wonderbolts beside her doing their flying happily. Rarity is implied to have boutiques across the land. She states that she has one in Yakistan, and they visit her one in Ponyville. Fluttershy, with the help of Discord, created an animal sanctuary that hosts animals from everywhere. Discord literally creates portals for animals from all around the world. Come to the sanctuary, get some help, and then leave. Spike became the friendship ambassador, which is beyond. Finally, Spike, come on, he finally has an important job. Even if Twilight Student doesn't acknowledge that it's an important job, he has an important job, and that makes me happy because I always felt like Spike was the 7th member of the group. Like, he was meant to be a part of the bigger group. And finally, Twilight, we already know she becomes the ruler of Equestria and takes over Celestia's magic school. So yes, they all got their own endings. Now, number 7, on that same note, the ending is also open-ended. Yes, it is open-ended. What turned me around for this one was that all the endings that I just described were implied. They were implied through the song and through visuals and things that characters said. Things that were implied that, personally, I took as canon, but other people might not. I took the fact that Discord was giving Fluttershy her lunch, that Discord and Fluttershy lived together, and that's pretty much a canon couple now. I always was a big fan of Fluttercord, I think it was called. I always was a big fan of that coupling. And then also, AJ and Dash, when they first come into the palace, they are talking about the fact that if AJ just let Dash do the chores once in a while, they would have gotten there faster, which kind of also implies that those two live together, are at least proximity to Tyler, which, again, I thought it was like I felt like it was a confirmation for that coupling, so. But these are my personal hang-ups. Alright, and finally, the last point it possibly could get was circles back to the first season, and of course, MLP does this. In the very first episode of the series, it opens up with a beautiful book and discusses the two princess sisters, and the ending of the series ends with a picture of the main 6, 7, because Spike's in it, with a picture of all of them together on the hill, closing up on a book ending. So they took the picture that you get at the beginning of the intro, where they always take a picture of where they are, and then they ended it with where they ended up, and they closed the book on it. So, I mean, that's just beautiful. That makes me want to cry. Oh man, do I love MLP. Please don't take that too bad. After tallying up all those points, it got 8 points. That was the first time for me. I was very surprised that MLP got all 8 points. That's all the good points it got. It got 8 positive points. So let's now move into the bad points it got. Alright, now that we've praised MLP, let's tear it down with some bad points. So the first possible bad point it could have is that it was a bad season. It was not. The season was great. I didn't see any real big issues with it. It was pretty average for most of it. There were some memorable episodes, I said before. However, I didn't see a single episode where I was just like, that is the worst episode ever. Did not get a point, so 0 points for that. Number 2, motivations don't make sense. Again, as I went through all of it, there were points in which I was like, oh, why did that happen? And then immediately after, they fixed it. For example, I remember Cozico defeated the 2 Alicorn sisters, right? And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. She's 1 Alicorn, and these are 2 Alicorns they shouldn't be. But because they use the bell, she traps their magic in the bell. That's how she defeats them. And the other thing is, kind of think with their fists. And I don't think I've ever seen Celestia or Luna think logically. Like, Twilight's their big 2 when it comes to anything logical. So it made sense. So again, since all their motivations made sense, there was 0 points given for that. Number 3, breaks continuity. Again, I didn't see a single point in which it broke continuity. Some people were like, oh, well, Discord wouldn't do that. However, in my opinion, Discord was very much in character. The way he is a friend to the rest of the cast is basically that he pushes them. That's kind of how his friendship with Twilight works. So, continuity-wise, Twilight was still preparing for being crowned. There was no point in which anything kind of broke continuity. Number 4, Issa's solution / forgiveness. Yeah, it lost a point here. And the reason I took a point away was because even though it had the ending where everyone comes together and says, look, we're your friends, this is fantastic, and we're here to help you, it still had that Twilight gives an emotional speech and then magic rainbows shoot out of all of them and attack the bad guys. Which is an easy solution, and they state in the show that, like, that happens all the time. So I had to take a point off. Sad face, but yeah, it's something common in MLP to have the easy solutions. It was a kid's show. It wasn't something like anime where you want to debate whether or not the person you were following had good morals the whole time. Number 5, out of character moments. Like I said before, Discord was definitely in character in my opinion. The princesses were in character. None of the characters I saw broke character. There's nothing that they did that I was like, no one would ever do that. It made sense that Applejack gave the speech. It made sense that Spike and Rarity were paired up together to fight Cozy Globe. There was no moment where I was like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. So all the characters were perfectly in character. Number 6, stereotypical couple ending. Yeah, MLP really didn't have that. It didn't really have a couple ending. The closest you could get for that was Cheese Sandwich and Pinkie Pie, but with that was heavily implied. it wasn't really stated outright that they got married, so there wasn't actually a stereotypical couple ending. There wasn't a couple ending. There was a friendship ending, but there was no couple ending. And finally, for the last possible negative point it could have, closed ending. It was not closed. Like I said before, since all the endings were just kind of implied as opposed to stated outright, you can choose how you want the ending to be. You can change up what's happened in between, and there's no real, like, this is the end of the story. I mean, the villains are still out there, so you could still create scenarios where they have to fight these villains, which, in my opinion, is what makes MLP one of the better shows out there. So, in total, negative points. MLP got 1 negative point. Alright, wait till you see the score. Alright, let's go on to final thoughts and my final score. Alright, it is time to have the final score for the My Little Pony Season 9 final episode, Generation 4, the ending to Generation 4, its final episode. Let's find out its final score. So, while tallying, the good votes got a total of 8 points. The bad ending got a total of 1 point. We do our subtraction and we end up with 7 points total. Yay! MLP ended up getting a really high score. I don't know why I was so surprised when I tallied up the votes and I was like, oh my goodness, that was really high. But I did, and MLP got a really high score. MLP is a series that was really ahead of its time, kind of, or I guess not ahead of its time, more like paved the way for a lot of things. It was a show that cared deeply for its characters, really cared about continuity, had a huge fan base. Not only did kids, the demographic for the show, like it, but grown adults did, and they did have morals that could be implemented in adult life, which made me always happy. The show itself was fantastic. I always loved it, and the ending kind of makes me cry. Listening to that ending song makes me happy. I always think of it, I'm like, well, it's the end of an era now. But that is my final results. I think that MLP, if you've never watched it, now I've just ruined the ending for you, but if you've never watched it, I would suggest watching it. It is a good 9 seasons to watch. I can't remember what season where it starts to dip a little, but I know that if you keep going, the show might have a few clunkers, but it has, the majority of it is amazing. The majority of it's really good. The majority of it doesn't talk down to its fans. It's just a show that you'll enjoy. So that's kind of it. Yeah, that's my final thoughts on this review. I think it did great. I really enjoyed the ending. Comment down below. What do you think? Do you think I was too light on MLP? Did you like the ending? Did you hate the ending? Were there any Easter eggs that you saw that made you jump for joy? I saw the Easter egg with, I can't remember their names. I'll put a picture behind me of the 2 characters, but in the newspaper, they are confirmed wed, which made me very happy. They were like a couple that I always like imagined them getting together. That was probably one of my favorite Easter egg. What was your favorite Easter egg? Put down below. Tell me what you think. Did you love MLP? Did you hate MLP? Is there another show you want me to review its ending? I think I'm probably going to do She-Ra's ending next, just because I also loved that ending, and I would love to see how it holds up compared to MLP now. Our golden boy standard, MLP. I have made too many jokes now, so please like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, and Firecats 3 out!